Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. It's been a day of fast-paced political developments. For starters, will the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge be the Prime Ministerial face of the India Bloc? His name, we now learn, has been proposed by Mamata Banerjee. He casually said when asked, let's win the elections first, but 12 participating parties of the India Bloc have applauded the plan. This on a day when, adding to the shock surrounding the suspension of 79 opposition MPs from Parliament in a single day, as many as 49 members face the same action today. This has taken the total number of MPs suspended this session to a whopping 141. That is the highest ever. Still, as we continue our focus on the opposition on our show tonight, several key questions remain. Are there, for example, internal contradictions within the India alliance, which mean that there could be problems going forward? So a large chunk of the India alliance and politics being played out. We'll be looking at that closely on this program. But at half past the hour, he's one of India's greatest ever sporting champions. A multi-Grand Slam champion in doubles and mixed doubles in tennis, now inducted as the first Indian into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. It is an incredible achievement for Leander Paes, who many of us grew up watching. It's wonderful to have spoken to Leander earlier on today on this huge accomplishment, the first Indian to be part of the International Tennis Hall of Fame that plays out at half past the hour. But first, a quick look at all of the major political developments. Mallikarjun Kharge being suggested, proposed as perhaps the Prime Ministerial candidate of the India Alliance on a day when so many MPs continue to have been ejected from Parliament. All that and a lot more. We have these details.
मेरा आग्रह आपसे कि आप चर्चा करें, संवाद करें.
I appeal to you to please take your seats.
Another day of an unprecedented showdown in Parliament with more suspensions of opposition MPs from both houses.
Honorable members,
49 more opposition MPs were suspended from the Lok Sabha on Tuesday, taking the total from the lower house to 95 opposition members. 46 opposition members have been suspended from the Rajya Sabha, with 11 on Tuesday after 34 on Monday and 1 earlier in the session. In total, 141 opposition members stand suspended.
I strongly condemn this.
Tuesday's suspensions included Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari, Farooq Abdullah, Dimple Yadav, among others.
It's clear they want an opposition मुक्त लोक सभा.
सरकार चर्चा नहीं करना चाहिए, भाग रही है.
तो क्या हो जाता अगर वो 5 मिनट आते और कहते जनाब ये हो गया है, हम इस पे कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं और क्या कर रहे हैं?
The opposition MPs have been protesting in both houses of parliament over the massive security breach in Lok Sabha last week. They have been demanding that Union Home Minister Amit Shah addresses the parliament on the security failure. The government says the parliament security is under the Lok Sabha Secretariat and its responsibility lies with the speaker.
जो अवरोध पैदा कर रहे हैं, ये उनकी हताशा है 3 प्रदेशों में हार के कारण.
As the MPs protested outside Parliament after the suspensions, this mockery of Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar by TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee triggered another row. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi was seen making a video as Banerjee mimicked Dhankar's demeanor as other MPs laughed and cheered. Inside the House, Chairman Dhankar called the TMC MP's act shameful and unacceptable while taking a dig at Rahul Gandhi.
आपके एक बड़े नेता एक सांसद के असंसदीय व्यवहार को वीडियो कर रहे थे. How shameful, how unacceptable.
खरगे जी से आग्रह करता हूं कि इसके बारे में आपको माफी मांगना चाहिए.
With the majority of opposition MPs being suspended and nobody in the house to protest, the government seems all set to pass crucial legislation that it's been listed, including the critical and important criminal law amendment bills in the current session before it is adjourned sine die.
Before this barrage of suspensions in 2 days, the highest number of suspensions were in 1989 when 63 MPs were suspended from the Lok Sabha after a report on Indira Gandhi's assassination was tabled in the House. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister then. Bureau Report, NDTV.
On Wednesday,
Well, joining us now, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, three-time sitting MP and a member of the Congress Working Committee. Thanks, Dr. Singhvi, very much for being with us. Dr. Singhvi, now don't be diplomatic. Give us a direct answer. Mallikarjun Kharge, he's been nominated by Mamata Banerjee, several other leaders within that crucial meeting of the India Bloc, endorsed his name. Will the Congress accept him as the Prime Ministerial candidate of your bloc?
Vishnu, even the truth can be stated diplomatically. It might not lead to a sudden spike in TRP ratings because they don't have the spice always. But diplomacy and truth can go together. Frequently they do not, I agree. Now let me be very clear that the 2 or 3 basic principles, I'm going to answer a question in exactly 30 seconds. The 2 or 3 principles on which India is based, the paramount first principle is to try and achieve one person, one constituency to the maximum extent possible, whether for 550 or 525 or 500 seats, etc. The second equally important principle is that it is the winning result of those 500, 550, one candidate, one person, one constituency formula, which will decide the Prime Minister. And this has been an anchor principle. Now, I know that what was said today by 2 or 3 senior leaders was said convivially, warmly, genuinely, and without any animus. I'm saying so. I've said so earlier also. But you got the answer from the horse's mouth. You got it from the Congress. You got it from the man himself, Mr. Kharge. And that is the correct answer. Nobody is saying that you cannot be or I cannot be. But we are equally saying that you are not and I am not. So why not wait? And one more thing I must say, Vishnu, before we end this part. There is a concept under India Alliance. It is the heart of parliamentary democracy, which is to fight the elections as an aggregate of state elections. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean state election in the sense it's normally used.
Yep.
But fight the national election as an aggregate of individual unit elections. And we know that in each state, there is a pole position with somebody. Others will coalesce around that pole position. And ultimately, the numbers which come from that pole position and those who coalesce around it will be aggregated to make the majority. In that concept, you are doing violence by even suggesting a prior declaration of a PM's face.
No, but is there therefore, Dr. Singhvi, a mismatch between what you are saying or what the Congress party is saying and what other members of the India Bloc are suggesting? If Mamata Banerjee has done a total 180 degrees and has now said that, look, it should be Mr. Kharge. I believe Arvind Kejriwal also didn't have a problem with it. I believe several others didn't have a problem with it. Is there a mismatch between their expectations and that expectation is there has to be a prime ministerial face to take on Narendra Modi and what you are saying?
I'll tell you. First of all, when you mention Narendra Modi, barring the national level, where anything which questions the Honorable Prime Minister is treated as heresy and sedition, within his own party also. There is no other person possible in the dictatorial setup of the BJP where it has to be Mr. Modi alone. But the same Mr. Modi at the state level elections used to earlier center it around a presidential chief ministerial candidate face. That is completely gone for many, many elections, not these last 3 alone. Because these are matters of strategy. You cannot expect me to decide my strategy according to what the opponent dictates. These are matters of not choosing the battlefield as per my opponent's dictates, not the uniform, the dress, the ammunition, the style of fighting according to the opponent's diktat. And today, these suggestions, there is no contradiction because this is a discussion process. It is an open, free, frank discussion amongst equals in this alliance, unlike the BJP, where there is only one me, myself dictator as far as these elections are concerned. So I think in the openness of it, somebody suggested the name. It was taken warmly and also equally responded to. And this is not something which is not responded to in the absence of Mr. Kharge or something. It's all there in the open. I think that's the correct way and the correct spirit to have these discussions in India.
No, but then how would you, Dr. Singhvi, respond to those who say that it really shouldn't be about this philosophy or belief of the Congress party in an electoral system in India where there is a definite impact of a big face, and we know this in the case of the Prime Minister. Why is the Congress delaying this when in fact you're saying that it's time?
I don't agree. I believe precisely the same answer. I believe that you are then falling into the trap of fighting elections, creating strategies, making responses, according to rules set by the BJP and Mr. Modi. That's absolutely unacceptable. Why should we do that? On the contrary, we don't have to fall in that trap. Who is laying down these rules for us? These rules are being laid down by those who want to create diversionary tactics. Suppose I was to say that the parliamentary system, the essence of the concept, the way I've said aggregation of state level elections, the way I've said pole position is the model of the India Alliance. Who are you to tell me, by you I mean Mr. Modi? Who is the BJP to tell us, no, this is not the right way to fight elections? Look, we have got one Mr. Modi, and because nobody can question one Mr. Modi in our party at the risk of political assassination, therefore you also follow the same system. Why should that be?
Right.
On the contrary, when we clarify, when Mr. Kharge clarifies and when slowly others clarify that everybody is first amongst equals in that alliance at the time being and the numbers will decide, then it is the BJP which gets worried because they do not want the other result which follows from it.
Okay, hang on
That's
a second.
The crux of the matter. One person, one constituency. One person, one
I don't have a
constituency.
BJP person here to take you on, so that's a bit unfair to them. But be that as it may, the other key issue within the India Alliance is of seat sharing. Now, have you had progress on that today?
That's a very important question. According to me, that is logically the second and the most important question you raised. But in a sense, it's even more important than the first question from which it flows. We have to start yesterday and finish it off by the end of this month, which is what they've indicated. But more important, Vishnu, that exercise, according to me, I mean, I'm not officially talking only the Congress view, but it's very clear this will be everybody's view, should be done unemotionally, clinically, strategically, based only on experts, figures, surveys and statistics. Go down seat-wise and decide on 10-year averages, 5-year results, etc. Once you've decided, of course, that, in this state, Vishnu Som is in pole position, in this state, Singhvi is in pole position, then the coalition around that pole position has to be decided by expert and winnability.
Right.
And that will happen. Time is short. That's the only concern. I'm sure if it starts now as it is, they've announced it in a sense that they're going to do it on a daily basis. But I would implore everybody, including the India Alliance, to put it down to experts who are statisticians, analysts and psephologists.
All right, Dr. Singhvi, great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to broaden the scope of the discussion at this point, take a look at all of the developments in Parliament. Remember, several more MPs were ejected from Parliament today for this session because of their protests on the security incident which took place in Parliament. And also the larger issue of where and how united the India Bloc actually is. We're joined by Hasnain Masoodi, a member of the Lok Sabha from the National Conference, Shama Mohammed of the Congress Party with us, Nalin Kohli with us as well, Rashid Kidwai, the senior journalist, and Sanjay Singh, all with us. Let me go straight across first to you, Nalin Kohli. It is an internal matter of the India Bloc, but how does the BJP actually see the prospect of potentially having a Mallikarjun Kharge as the face of the bloc, right, against Narendra Modi?
First of all, Mr. Kharge himself has declined that, and two, he has perhaps, what seems to come in the media, said the truth. Let's get the MPs first. And to get the MPs first, there are several steps they need to cross. The first being, they can't be just a conglomeration of leaders meeting over a cup of tea and deciding to say that we will replace Narendra Modi. What they need to do is come up with something positive. Why they wish to remove how they will project themselves as an alternative to Mr. Narendra Modi. So A is not just the face, B is the agenda. Anti-Modiism or anti-BJPism is not an agenda of change. I mean, today only there's a report that says India is contributing 16% to the global economy. It's a huge thing. India's being...
Nalin has an internal contradiction of the India Alliance, that on the one hand, you've got so many parties saying, let it be Mr. Kharge, and the Congress saying no, and Mr. Kharge himself saying no.
Also because it's the Congress party essentially is a family-centered party. The first post or the position of the president of the Congress party may not be currently with the Nehru-Gandhi family, but Mr. Kharge is there with the blessings of the Nehru-Gandhi family. You can't imagine someone contesting an election without the blessings of Mr. Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Vadra Gandhi or Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. We saw what happened to Shashi Tharoor. But the point is, there is no alliance. An alliance, in effect, the India alliance in this case, doesn't have basics. a logo, an office, an agenda of change, and a leader. What it is that we want to replace Prime Minister Modi because we don't like Prime Minister Modi. But the people of India are voting for Prime Minister Modi and voting for the BJP where Prime Minister Modi's work is speaking. So as I see it, it's a non-alliance. You may call it an alliance, but it's not an alliance of change. It's an alliance to meet. And they're doing that. This is their fourth meeting.
Nalin, before I bring in my other panelists, as you know, there have been dozens of MPs. It's a record number, both in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, who've been ejected from their respective houses because of the security breach issue. On the other hand, India is on the verge of looking at or introducing criminal law bills. Isn't it sad, therefore, that these will potentially be debated or discussed, or perhaps without enough discussion or debate in Parliament? And what does that say about our democracy?
Fair question. But really, you should be asking the people who are disrupting Parliament, not the ones who are suffering the disruption. So the BJP or the ruling party or the Treasury benches are suffering disruption. The seriousness of the opposition party has been eloquently, quite succinctly, beautifully caught in by what the MPs are more interested in, mimicry of the Vice President of India on the steps of Parliament. I mean, so that seriousness of what they are really interested in is there. And no less than Mr. Rahul Gandhi found that to be the most important thing to perhaps do. Let's catch it on video. And we've seen it. And there's widespread criticism of that.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways, that you will go into the well of the house with placards, disrupt it, and then say that, no, we are not being allowed to let Parliament function. It doesn't work both ways. It doesn't work in a basic classroom in a school. I don't think it can work in Parliament, which is a far more august institution.
Okay. Hasnain Masoodi, would you like to come in and respond to that? The point is that Parliament has already said that there will be a response. They are looking at the security threat which emerged. They are looking to find ways around this. And yet you feel that, yes, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, they should have spoken about it in Parliament. Point taken. But is it in anybody in India's interest, sir, that important bills like the criminal law bills will be brought in to Parliament and none of you will be there to debate it or discuss it?
Sir, first, Parliament is all about debate and discussion. And I will say that democracy is all about accommodating dissent and disagreement. But here is a government that is not ready to debate and discuss or allow or facilitate debate and discussion. It's not today only. It is be it Manipur, be it Pegasus, be it Adani papers. Whenever we asked it, we wanted a statement. See, now it was never allowed, and they were not ready to respond. Now, see to what happened a few days well. There was a breach of security, a serious breach of security. Everybody was alarmed, and it is not only that someone jumped into from the visitors' balcony into the house from the gallery. But they used chemicals, emitted gas. See, now if after everybody was alarmed, least what is that opposition asks? That is a statement from the Honorable Home Minister. Take House into confidence, assure House that this will not be repeated, and steps will be taken that we don't have such an incident in future. And also, whatever information he is able to share with the House, share that information.
No, but
I mean, it is not a big demand. Now, what happens is,
Hasnain Sahab, the point is that all of these details that you seek will be shared because Parliament and the Speaker himself has said that this is a matter of security of this institution of Parliament. Parliament institutionally is responsible for handling the security thing. I understand your point that the Home Minister and the Prime Minister should speak in Parliament. Be that as it may, why isn't that answered from the Speaker meeting what you seek? Because he is technically correct. It is Parliament. It is his job.
Sir, Speaker is to run the House. But who is to secure safety and security of the House? It is the Home Minister and the agencies that are responsible for just having that secure atmosphere, that ambience. See, Speaker is only to run the House. The way other institutions, head of any other institution, may be responsible to run that institution. But the responsibility primarily is of the Home Minister and the agencies that are employed. So the person to make a statement is the Honorable Home Minister. And what is the? I mean, it is not a big. I don't think there's a big problem. Why should not a statement be made, just a brief statement, assure the House? And instead, what do you do?
All right, let me put that to Nalin Kohli. Nalin,
suspending
it's a pretty basic request. Let the Prime Minister and the Home Minister not speak elsewhere. Let them speak in Parliament and explain, right? Everybody, the BJP has been affected by the security breach. Everybody's been affected.
No one, Vishnu, would ever believe that the incident at Parliament is not serious. It is a serious incident. And no less than the Prime Minister and the Home Minister have even said so. But if you want Parliament to function, it has to function by the rules of Parliament. While Hasnain Saab used two words by saying it's for discussion, but at the same time, debate and discussion were the words he used. I am respectfully pointing out that disruption can't be the other D that you add to it. That instead of debate and discussion, you end up doing disruption. So I think we have a situation where every session is basically being disrupted. And the government in previous sessions is on the record to say we don't run away from any discussion.
Okay.
But then if there has to be a discussion, that has to be as per parliamentary procedure. And if parliamentary procedure is not followed or it's discarded, and then it is about going into the well and protesting, then you are just ejecting everything out.
Okay.
In all fairness, there are other places to protest, not the well of the House.
Shaba Mohammed, the fact that Trinamool Congress leaders, were seen, mimicking the Rajya Sabha's chairperson, the fact that Rahul Gandhi was apparently seen endorsing this behavior as well. How would you respond to the point mentioned in Parliament and outside, saying that, look, this is just not on?
What do you mean? Jaideep Dhankar is a partisan person and he deserves it. That's what he's been doing from day one, and everybody knows that. So let him stop being partisan, and then we'll see from there. You get what you deserve, one. Number two, Nalin said a couple of things. He said 16% some growth is happening. Well, the unemployment rate is 10%. People are still hugely unemployed and there's still inflation. Then he mentioned Kharge. About Kharge, they are people, they are appointed by the Gandhis. Kharge has been elected, Mr. Nalin Kohli, unlike the former criminal, Mr. Amit Shah. When you appointed him, he had a case against him, and you appointed him as the party president first in 2014. Investigations were still on. His investigations were not closed for the fake encounter case. Number two, was your second after the president, JP Nadda, was he elected? No, he was appointed. We have an election. Then he says that, then he talks about there is a parliamentary procedure. 141 MPs have been suspended. Why are they suspended? Because in a democracy, we have the right, the opposition has the right to question you. There has been a huge breach of security. When a threat came from Panoon or from the US, he said that I'm going to attack the parliament before or on 13. My question today is that first of all, we had a parliament attack in 2001 when Mr. Vajpayee was the prime minister, BJP was in power. My question today is, why wouldn't you not prevent it? The Delhi police knew it, the security, the CISF knew there's a huge threat. The threat perception was very high. The question today is, you suspend 141 members of parliament. Pratap Simha, who gave the pass, is still in parliament, number one. Then he says there is a committee and questioning happened. What happened to Ramesh Bidodi? He called Danish Ali a terrorist. Is the committee still discussing? Is the speaker not going to take an action on Mr. Bidodi and suspend him? You suspended Mahua Moitra. So why is the parliamentary procedure different for the opposition members of parliament and for you? We are asking.
All right. So Shama, you've raised 3 or 4 questions. Let's try and get an answer. Nalin, go ahead.
So, number one is, it's Jagdeep Dhankarji, the Honorable Vice President of India. He's not exactly Shama Mohammad's pal that she can refer to him in that manner. Number two, that she has chosen to use the word criminal for Amit Shahji, the Home Minister, then by the same standard of a case being registered, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, they are certainly criminals by Shama Mohammad's standard. Apparently, if I recall correctly, they are out on bail for no less than probably trying to siphon off a few hundred crores or maybe a few thousand crores of assets of the National Herald case through a company called Young Indians, primarily controlled by the Nehru Gandhi family and its confidants. So therefore, one must choose their words carefully, and before pointing a finger, just remember that if you point one finger outward, you point up three back to yourself.
All right. And what about the larger point about the importance of, Nalin, of parliamentarians being allowed to voice their protests within parliament, and that's being denied because apparently there are different rules for the government and different rules for the opposition?
Not at all. Why would there be? I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't speak of the high standards when you actually yourself follow the low standards. So I think there's a need for self-introspection.
Okay.
No, he's not answered the question. He's not answering why Pratap Simha is still in parliament. Why is he not suspended? Can I know? He's the one who gave the pass.
All right, one sec, Nalin, would you like to take that?
Check who comes into
All
the
right,
parliament.
Nalin.
Why? And Nalin, one more thing. Your man, the Amit Shah, was in prison behind bars. We know what happened. All right. So
no, but one sec. Let's be specific. One sec, Shama. Let's not let allegations fly all over the place. Let's try and focus on what's happening over here.
Just one minute.
But on the point of Pratap Simha, please go ahead.
Nalin, I must say respectfully, what do you mean your man? I mean, this your man business. Perhaps
Shama, let's just keep it. Let's just keep it at a
let's
decent
also
level.
select our words a little more
whatever
carefully.
your discussion, differences with Amit Shah or the vice president of the country is, I think let's all just bring that down.
Yeah, let's not cross the line. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, on a debate. Yes, so I think on a debate you're seeing an example of crossing the line.
All right,
in Parliament you've seen it. That's a
Shama
culture.
not to do that, so please don't, Shama.
Yeah, but that's a culture.
On the
I'm only
question
pointing
of
out to the
Pratap
culture.
Simha, would you like to make to respond?
No, I'm just pointing out to a culture. No, I can't respond on Pratap Simha because I'm not a member of parliament and I haven't gone and checked the rules and I can't comment on it. So I know my limits. Unfortunately, unlike others, I don't speak on things that I don't have direct knowledge about.
Okay.
I don't have verbal diarrhea.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's just tone it all down a little bit. I want to go across to Rashid Kidwai. Rashid, the point mentioned by opposition leaders is that where is the democracy if a basic question is posed and there is no answer and everybody gets suspended from parliament? Is there any basis on this? Or do you believe the BJP is right in saying you can't have it both ways?
I think, Vishnu, I look at it as this is all a build-up for 2024. There is an attempt to project, the opposition as unreasonable, disruptive, a bunch of leaders and MPs who are not, too sensitive about national aspects of finite aspects of national security and show them in somewhat poor light. The BJP seems to be very sure-footed. They are doing it out of purpose. It's I've covered parliament for so many years. I've never seen this kind of action, quick action, and unilateral actions by presiding officers of both houses of parliament. So this is it's political. It's politically motivated. It's aimed at 2024. As you know, the life of the 17th Lok Sabha is barely for 5 months away. So therefore, all these things are being done to drive home some political points and political mileage.
Can I come in?
Just half a second. I wanted to go across to Sanjay, who's also been waiting for a long period of time. Sanjay, do you believe that this issue of the breach of parliament and its security is an election issue at all?
I think I don't think so. Depends how far opposition tries to take this issue. Because today was NDA Alliance meeting, and I don't think this particular issue was hammered in such a way that this becomes an issue at large for the opposition alliance. There are other issues to be discussed out there, including the first issue that you referred, Mallikarjun Kharge proposed as Prime Ministerial face of that particular alliance by one of the most prominent leader of the alliance, Mamata Banerjee. So dragging this to or this becoming a talking point in parliamentary election, I don't think so. Yes, the way things are panning out post that incident, that perhaps might become a talking point in times to come. So therefore, there is a whole mixture of issues that have got into this. Remember, only 2-3 days of this parliament, only 2 days, I think, are left for this particular session, winter session, and that session is going to be very short. And another 3 months' time, elections are going to be announced. So therefore, obviously, the government has to pass some important bills. They will do so. Whether opposition is there or not there, opposition can say whatever they want to say. But at the moment, outside of parliament, Mr. Dhankar also made some remarks inside the House. I think that also has become a talking point. That is become being discussed. Mr. Kalyan Banerjee's act and Rahul Gandhi filming that has gone viral. So there are a whole lot of issues and a whole lot of points and counterpoints. About the first point that you asked, if you give me time or if you want to come back again, about Mamata Banerjee proposing Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's name. Yeah, you want me to?
We'll try and come back to that in just a few moments from now. Nalin had a point to make. Nalin, go ahead. I need to start wrapping this up.
I had a point to make, but
I'll come to you, Shama. Nalin, go ahead.
So I just have one point to make, Vishnu. That look, certainly the primary responsibility of running the House is on the Treasury benches. That's a fact. But you also have the role of the opposition in making sure that Parliament runs as it's meant to run. This is not a one-way street. It can't be. If the opposition feels strongly, they can disrupt once. They may do so, but it can't be a pattern.
Okay.
And a pattern that we have seen repeatedly, session after session. When they demand a discussion and the government says, sure, then they'll fight over which rule. So it's always a fight. What they don't want is Parliament to function. And my guess is because perhaps they are not good enough speakers on the other side, and they fear the fact that final answer will come from Prime Minister Modi. That's why you will note even in the debates or the discussions where the Prime Minister had to speak, they have disrupted him while he speaks and ignored the fact that he kept quiet and the Treasury heard them out.
Okay. All right. Shama, you've got 30-40 seconds to finish this up for us. Please go ahead.
So the half of the time now NDTV is more than half is giving to the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesman, and that's unfair on your part.
No, but that's not been the case. No. One sec. This program, my good friend Shama, began with a 10-minute chunk of Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Nalin or nobody from the BJP was over there.
I wasn't there at that point.
On this program, you have had equal opportunity at every stage to speak.
I'm not complaining.
And then, and Nalin has responded, he has spoken less than you on this. But please wrap up that program. I'm sorry, I disagree completely on half the time. That's not correct.
He mentioned, I said Jaideep Dhankar. Why does he say Kharge? Mallikarjun Kharge? Is he your friend?
No,
is it because he's a Dalit? You call him Mallikarjun Kharge? Now the other thing is, Ramesh,
please play it. No, sorry, Shama. I never speak disrespectfully about any leader. I even said Sonia Gandhi ji. I even said Sonia Gandhi ji. I am very clear about it. I never speak disrespectfully for any leader. And I can tell you, you can play back my recording and hear it.
He's taking my time also.
All right.
He has no answers why Pratap Sima is not being suspended. He's the spokesperson of the party. They don't want to give any answers. They do whatever they want. They are passing the criminal bills, which is very important for this country, without opposition. Basically, they've suspended because they wanted to pass these bills. Today, if that was not a canister and a bomb, Gurjeet Singh, our member of parliament, would be dead because he's the one who went and caught that. So, they have no explanation. They don't want to discuss anything. Even when it came to China, no discussion. Many of the things. So my point today is, and he talks about disruption. 2010 to 2013, JT and Sushma Swaraj are the kings and queens of disruption. So that is what we are trying to tell you, is that we are not disrupting. We want answers. Why doesn't Mr. Amit Shah come to the parliament and give a statement and tell us?
Okay, fair enough.
Huge thing.
The demand of the opposition. Got it, Shama. You made your point. I need to wrap this up.
This is called being arrogant, no? We all are worried.
You believe that the government has to come into parliament, make that statement. That's not just you, but every member of the opposition as well. More than 140 odd MPs have been suspended from parliament at this stage. A lot of questions being asked about whether that is fair or not. We'll leave this debate at that. We'll take a short break, come back with something completely different, a very special interview with the one and only Leander Paes on becoming the first Indian to enter the International Hall of Fame in tennis, a huge achievement for any Indian. He's one of India's greatest ever sporting champions, an 18-time Grand Slam champion in doubles and mixed doubles in tennis, now inducted as the first Indian into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. This is an incredible achievement for Leander Pace, who many of us grew up watching. It's wonderful to have Leander join us now for this very special interview. Leander, thanks very much for being with us. Leander, you've won the Grand Slam so many times around and an Olympic bronze medal winner as well. Of all the tournaments you've won, what means the most to you?
That's a really tough question, Vish, because having won 20 Grand Slams, 18 in the seniors, 2 in the juniors, having coveted my Olympic medal in '96, as well as playing 7 Olympics consecutively, which is the world record, and also being the most decorated Asian athlete in medal on the medal podium, it's tough to pick out any one of them. I think that the greatest joy that I've had is to represent our people and our country over 32 years, to have won Wimbledon over 3 different decades, to have won the French Open over 3 different decades, to equal Sir Rod Laver's achievement of doing that is another accolade that I hold dear to my heart. Also, now being inducted into the hallowed halls of the International Tennis Hall of Fame just kind of reaffirms the hard work, the sacrifice, the years of dedication, and not just the hard yards that one's put in, but also the ability to reinvent ourselves. I bow my head in gratitude to my parents, to my siblings, to my coaches, my trainers, and every single fan out there who has done their bit to motivate me and to believe in my journey of achieving excellence. It's not easy to work and run as fast as I run, and to every one of my team, Rick Leach, Bob Carmichael, Jean Mayer, Dave Herman, Sanjay Singh, my parents, my siblings, my managers, Jimmy Dicker and Gitika Taraporwala, to every single one of these people who I've mentioned, I bow my head in gratitude. Also, Vish, one has played with 192 doubles and mixed doubles partners and achieved history in 22 countries. Most of these partners that I've won Grand Slams with, it's been their first Grand Slam victory. Whereas for us, I've been blessed with a 32-year career and won it 20 times. So hence just reinventing oneself to win with these other partners and create history in 22 countries now helps me in the work that I'm trying to do to inspire the youth to also be champions themselves.
Now, Leander, before you started winning, you had to sleep in a cold locker room sometimes because you couldn't afford to stay in a hotel. Can you share a story about that experience with us from way back in the day?
The journey is always tough, right, Vish, when you come from a country like India where you don't have corporate dollar, you don't have international funds to live in nice warm hotel rooms in the winter in Germany or in the winters in Europe. So hence, yes, one has had to sleep in locker rooms. One has had to spend 1, 2 or 3 francs back in the day to buy a cappuccino for the locker room attendant to convince him that I need to sleep here. And I've been very blessed to have this human equity and human relationships with people in all walks of life, whether it is security guards to open up stadiums late at night when I need to practice 50 serves the night before a Grand Slam final, turn the lights on and convince them to do so then I can master my kick serve that helps me win a Grand Slam at the US Open the next day. Or with a locker room attendant in Wolfsburg, Germany in the winter of 1991, where he locked me into the locker room and said, I will let you sleep here, but I have to lock you in for security. There's one window up there. If any problem happens and if there's a fire in the stadium, you jump out of that window because the alarm's off on that window. Also traveling through New York, where I was coached by Jean Mayer in Long Island. I got mugged at Grand Central Station again in 1991. It seems like that was a hard year, so every day when I change my shirt, there's a big scar on my left chest where I got 23 stitches from getting mugged in Grand Central. That reminds me of the hardships of a professional career that one Indian boy, a young Indian boy, had to travel the world. So tennis is a brutal sport. Tennis is a very demanding sport because 99% of our tournaments, Vish, are outside the country. So in that context, sitting here today, it's easier to speak about the years that have already been accomplished and the accolades and the world records that have already been accomplished. But I'm so proud to be part of a sport that is the only sport to have equal prize money, equal opportunity, equal scholarships to girl child as well as boy child. So in that, now rubbing shoulders with the greats of the game like Billie Jean King, Serena Venus Williams, Bjorn Borg, John McEnroe, Sampras, Agassi, Roger Federer's next in line, Djokovic, Nadal are next in line. To be able to be part of this whole royalty of tennis, so to say, and that to be the only Asian male in the history of the game to be nominated as the player category is quite something. It's quite overwhelming. But I also want to give a big congratulations to Vijay Amitraj and to Richard Evans for being nominated in the contributor category. Both of them have been close to my career and my life, and I'd like to thank Vijay for supporting me through his academy when I was a young boy, and to his mom and his dad, and Anand Amritraj actually, who chose me for the academy. This accolade belongs to every one of them, just as it belongs to every Indian on the planet. It's because of you that I sit here today, and I say thank you to that.
Is it your worry that there is no one in Indian tennis at the moment to fill your socks or Mahesh's or Sania Mirza's?
Yes, it is. I feel that winning Junior Wimbledon in 1990 started a trend of how tennis was a great sport to play. I feel winning my Olympic medal in singles in 1996 also encouraged a young Mahesh Bhupati to come out of college, a young Sania Mirza to come out of Hyderabad, a young Rohan Bopanna to come out, to name a few of the Indian stars that played. But in the 90s, Vish, just winning my Olympic medal also encouraged a Chili Rathore in the 2000 games to win his silver medal in shooting, Gagan Narang, Abhinav Bindra. Even now when I meet Neeraj Chopra, he says, Paji ki hal hai? And he says, you know, aapka jo poster jo the hamare arena mein, that used to motivate me that, yaar, Leander Paes jeet sakte hai, to main bhi jeet sakta hu. So to hear these stories is wonderful, to inspire generations of young athletes after covering my Olympic medal. For them to achieve excellence was a wonderful thing. A bit concerned about tennis at the moment that we are not producing the number of children playing the game, which also inspires me, Vish, that one of my next passions in life is in the next 15 years to get 250 million kids playing sport in our country. And that's at the grassroots level, tier 2, tier 3 cities, rural areas, to go out there with my scouts, recognize talent, pick talent, bring them into the academies and teach them the Paes way. That is physical fitness, mental fitness and emotional fitness. It's all coming under an app and a portal which is called the Physical Athletic Education System. And to create the feeder system where 250 million children play multiple sports, but through physical, mental and emotional fitness, the feeder system gets very rich to then get to the top of the pyramid to produce Olympic champions for our country.
Leander, your entire career has been based on partnerships. Martina Hingis, Mahesh Bhupati, which a lot of us had hoped would last longer, but you guys fought. Be that as it may, you've had some wonderful partnerships. What's been the most meaningful for you?
I'm really blessed to have had 192 odd partners through 22 countries, and some of my favorite ones were Martina Navratilova. We won Wimbledon in 2003, we won the Australian Open, we lost in the finals of the French, but the magic of that partnership was the human equity. Martina Navratilova is one of the main reasons that I continued my career 10 years beyond when I first wanted to retire. Her lifestyle and her systems that she had in play, her recovery systems that she had in play, she shared that with me so gracefully that I learned those systems and was able to continue a 32-year career. Also right at the end of my career in 2015 and 2016, as a 43-year-old, I had the luxury of partnering one of the greatest of all time, Martina Hingis. And in that, we won 4 Grand Slams in 16 months. That itself is a world record in itself. And Martina Hingis is one of the most complete tennis players you can find in the world. But the gentleness and the camaraderie that we have just speaks highly of what tennis allows us to do. Tennis brings people together. Tennis is a very inclusive sport, and to have some great partners like this is just a great learning for a young boy from India. Also, that being said, to be able to prove to India that we can be world champions, where in 1999 I had picked a young boy out of Ole Miss University, Mahesh Bhupati, nurtured him with my coach Bob Carmichael and Enrico Piperno, and then we went to reach all 4 Grand Slam finals in 1999, which is still the record in the men's game of the first and only team to get to 4 Grand Slam finals in a calendar year. Those 3 things stand out, Vish, but yesterday I learned something really unique, that Rod Laver and myself are the only 2 individuals in the history of the game to win Wimbledon in 3 different decades. To me that was like, wow. They also said that at the French Open, I had won the French Open in 3 different decades. And I jogged my memory, and in 1999 I had won both Wimbledon and the French Open with Mahesh. In 2001 I won the French Open with Mahesh again. In 2010 I had won the French Open with Lucas Lohey from the Czech Republic, and also Cara Black at Wimbledon. And then in 2015 and 16 I won both the French and Wimbledon with Martina Hingis. So the facts of these stats are quite mind-boggling now, to sit back as a 50-year-old, where while I was playing I wasn't focused on them, but now to sit back and just see, you know, from gully cricket and gully football bare feet on Park Street in Calcutta, now to roam the Hall of Fame halls is a very humbling feeling. And like I said, I bow my head to the sport of tennis. I bow my head to every single human being out there who played their part in my career, because this one belongs to everybody.
And do you remain in touch with Hingis and Navratilova? What about Bhupati?
Yeah, for sure. Navratilova called me 2 nights ago, and she said, not too bad for an Indian boy, huh? And that was a funny one. And Martina Hingis was like, welcome to the club, partner. And that was really cool. And I was supposed to play mixed doubles at Wimbledon with Navratilova earlier this year in 23. But she's such a champion. She braved through cancer. She won a battle with cancer, and unfortunately we couldn't play Wimbledon together. But that's one of the wishes we have, is to play the legends at Wimbledon in 2024. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. And tennis as a vehicle has given me such great friendships, such great relationships. And even though Mahesh and myself have gone through our tough times, the respect that we have for each other to create history for our country, to prove that Indians can be number 1 in the world, that Indians can be world leaders in our field, is something that I hold close to my heart. Also, while I travel the world now, Vish, with my work with Flying Man Ventures and doing a lot of sporting work, inspiring children, building infrastructure, and really kind of showcasing my story to inspire the youth to become champions in their field, this journey has been a real blessed one. And I am very humbled by the accolades, especially in India, right from winning the Arjuna Award in 1990 to the Padma Shri, to the Padma Bhushan. The adulation and the love that I get from my fellow Indians is really wonderful. And now to be recognized on the global stage with the International Tennis Hall of Fame is not too bad for a young kid who played gully cricket and gully football.
Now, Leander, in singles, your major wins came against Henri Leconte, Arnaud Bush, Wayne Ferreira, Goran Ivanisevic, one of my favorites, and of course the one and only Pete Sampras. Would that be the biggest singles win for you? How did you beat Sampras, who was, I think, world number 1 when you beat him on one of those occasions?
I played Pete Sampras 4 times, and all 4 times he was number 1 in the world in singles. I played him in singles and doubles, and I've never lost to him. And I'll tell you a little secret today, that now that we've both retired, Pete Sampras' favorite serve was down the tee on both sides, deuce court and at court. But whenever he was in trouble down a break point, he would not hit his favorite serve, because he felt that the opponent would be ready for that, and he would kick a serve high to the backhand of his opponent, come in tight and hit a volley winner. Well, Leighton Hewitt taught me that trick at Yale University in the Pilot Pen tournament, and that was the first time I beat Pete Sampras. And Leighton and myself kept that as a secret for many, many, many years. And today I'm letting it out on your show that's the reason that I've never lost to Pete Sampras in 4 outings.
Leander, your net game and speed to net, would you say that at the end of the day, that was your greatest asset in tennis terms?
One is, I think it was a lot of misspent youth as a kid. My dad got me playing a lot of video games, and the eye-hand coordination, which is what he was getting me to do in video games as a fun teaching, I realized later that was actually a very smart psychological game that my dad did with me. So hence one got these really fast hands that I pride myself that is, if anything falls on the table with my group, it will not hit the ground. And I practice that every day along with my martial arts and so on and so forth. But I'm so blessed to be born into the family I was born into, because my mom captained India in basketball. Her jersey number for India was number 5. My dad was the centre half of the Indian 1972 field hockey team in Munich. His jersey number was number 10. But because of my father's immense knowledge of sports education and sports science, being a sports science doctor, and on the other side wearing the hat as an Olympic champion, he understood the nuances of the mental game. And in that, the psychology that my dad used with me as a guinea pig from the age of about 3 and 4 to teach me the nuances of how achieving success was done has given us now 100 years of experience, 60 years of his experience, 40 years of my experience. So in that, I'm developing a portal, Vish, which is basically called the Physical Athletic Education System, PAES, and sharing the knowledge that we at the Pace family have about the human body, the human mind, and the human spirit, on how if we master that art, you can achieve excellence in anything. 10,000 hours, 3 million perfect repetitions, 10 years, you can master anything. So it's not left up to karma and kismat and luck and taqdeer. Yes, as Indians we believe in such things, and you need to have a little bit of luck to be able to create legacy and be able to create legendary achievement. But the achievement of success is a practiced art form in a daily lifestyle. And this is my next journey, to take that knowledge that we have in the Pace family to 250 million kids around our country, to teach them how winning is done and to be the best versions of themselves.
And finally, Leander, I must ask you, you are an ambassador for India, and an Indian 110%, but you're also a Bengali, and your love for Bengal has meant a lot for you. So how would you define that from one parochial Bengali to perhaps another one?
I'm a hardcore patriot, let's put it that way. I never got a number on my jersey, but my Indian shirts, my Indian jersey, every time I play for the country, even today, when I hear the national anthem play out loud, I stand to attention, and I stand with such pride and such great feeling in my heart, just as I did at Atlanta on the podium when I watched the Indian flag go up after 44 years to prove that we Indians can be world champions, we can be Olympic champions. And it takes me back, Vish, to when I was a young boy of the age of 7 and 8, when I used to polish my father's Olympic medal and ask him about the Olympic movement. And the movement of the human spirit is exactly what it's all about. Today the world is going through a lot of hardships. There's wars going on in certain parts of the world, economies are falling in other parts of the world, the cost of living and inflation is going up at 6-7% across the world. People are losing their jobs post-COVID. To sit here today and celebrate the spirit of the human body and mind and inspire people and motivate people is a responsibility I take very dearly. To be able to motivate every young kid whose autograph I sign or whose picture I take, it could be my millionth one, but it could be there first. And to be able to make a difference in a human being's life, where they might be going through stresses of home and stresses of family and stresses of job and stresses of finances. But to bring happiness to people, Vish, is a great honor. And that's one that Flying Man, the Flying Man Ventures, the company that I work under, or being a patriot or being a human being on this planet, to be able to bring happiness to people is a wonderful way to live my life.